Hello, everyone, and welcome to Your Cup of Joy. I'm your host, Ariana Joy Christie, and I am so glad that you are here. This is a space to inspire, to learn, to grow, and to challenge. Get ready to fill your cup and spread a little joy along the way. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Your Cup of Joy. Today, we are doing another solo episode. And the reason for this is I wanted to talk about a couple of things. First off, I want to talk about an event that happened yesterday. So, this is like real mom life. I knew that this would happen at some point in my children's lives. I feel like when you're like a mom of a boy who is rambunctious and loves to play around, there's going to be accidents that happen, of course. I get it. However, you do everything that you can as a mom to protect your children. And you just think like, oh, if I'm there, nothing bad will happen, right? Like if I'm watching them, if I'm nearby, if I'm close, like they'll be fine because I'm the protector. But that's why we call it accidents, because they just happen by accident. Nobody wants their kids to get hurt. But it happens. So yesterday, Mike went out to a listing appointment. I was home with the three littles. And we were having a nice after school snack. We were playing. I was going to decorate for Christmas. I had some work to do. And then I was going to cook dinner. So I was kind of planning. And I really had to go pee. And as I've talked in many episodes about the lovely joys of motherhood, yes, there are so many joys, but there are so many hard parts too. And some of the hard parts are always putting other people's needs before our own. And that comes to not only like fun extracurricular things, but like our actual needs too. And I remember speaking to my therapist about this after having the twins and just saying like, sometimes I have to pee and like I don't even go pee because like I'm doing everything for everybody else. And she was like, girl, you got to take care of your needs too. And so it's something that I preach often. I tell my friends like, do stuff for you, fill your cup. Like that's the whole reason of this podcast. But still, as moms, as parents, we find ourselves back putting everybody's needs before ours. And I don't think that's always a bad thing. I just think it is important to fulfill your needs too. So anyways, I was going pee. Callie was asking me for water. Axel was asking me for a snack. Oscar, even though he had a snack, Oscar was, playing around. And I just said, okay, 1 minute, mommy's just going to go pee. And our washroom is like right beside our living room. So I was in the living room with the kids the whole time after school. Anyway, I sat down to pee. As I'm peeing, I hear boom. I say, are you okay? What happened? Then I hear, Ma! Like crying, sobbing. And like, again, as a mom, like, your kids' cries. Like, if it's like a hurt cry or a whining cry or a complaining cry, or you can usually tell if something is like actually wrong. This was a bad cry. This was a cry of somebody who was very hurt. So I quickly run into the living room to pull up my pants, run in to see what's happened. And Oscar's crying. And I say, okay, like, are you okay? I knew he wasn't okay. Like, I knew that he was hurt because typically if my kids are crying or if I see them fall, I'll say to them, are you hurt or are you scared? Like, did it scare you or did it hurt you? Because it's always good to assess and know, like, are they just worried? Did they fall or are they actually hurt? No, he was hurt. So I say to him, where were you hurt? I'm hugging him. I look at him and I can see a little bit of blood here on his forehead. And I'm thinking like, oh, did he hit his head? Oh my gosh, how did this happen? And then I realized, oh my God, no, it's only a little bit of blood here. Like that's not where it was bleeding. Like then I see the blood from his chin and I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, it's split open. Like, when kids like hit, it like splits. His chin was split and I could like squeeze it back together. That's really gross, but I could. So I thought, oh no, I think he needs stitches. Thankfully, it wasn't like bleeding a ton, but it was definitely open. Now I've never had stitches, so I don't know how to assess this. Like, do you go to the hospital? What do you do? Does he need stitches? Can I just steri strip it together? Like, I don't know the answers to these questions, and Mike's at work. So, I think like to myself, okay, I need to stay calm, like assess the situation, stay calm, to keep him calm. I'm taking deep breaths with him. I'm helping him, you know, really know that it's going to be okay. And then I think, okay, what am I going to do here? So I call my neighbor, who is a good friend of mine, and she's like the most kind soul. She's a firefighter. So I'm like, okay, she's a first responder. She'll know if he needs to have stitches. So bless her soul, she comes over right away, and she looks at him and she's like, yeah, I think you should go and take him to the hospital. Like, he should probably get a couple stitches. So I'm like, okay. So then I'm planning, like, where am I going to bring my kids? I'm calling my mom. She's not answering. She was at the gym. I'm calling my sister. She's at work. Lindsay, my dear friend, was like, I'll take Axel and Callie, like, just pack their pajamas. I'll take them to my house. I'll feed them dinner. They live down the road from us. So it was like such a blessing to have such good friends. When we say it takes a village, it really does. And this was like such a good example of that. Without hesitation, she was like, yes, like, they're coming with me. Everything's going to be okay. Like, don't worry. So I pack up their jammies and their toothbrushes. I take Oscar to the hospital. I packed like his pajamas too, and like a water bottle and stuff, uh, which then I forgot in the car anyways, but that's another story. And we head to the hospital, to Guelph General. And I realized in that moment, holy shit, I'm terrified of hospitals. And it took me back to, if you guys have been following me for a while, you'll know about our NICU journey with the twins. If you haven't, I'll give you a little Cole's notes, but basically the twins came into the world quite early, at 33 weeks. And so they needed specialized care. I was able to deliver them at Guelph General, but we ended up staying there for an entire month. And 10 of those 31 days, the twins were split in different hospitals. So Oscar was at Mac for 10 days. He got transferred because he needed some extra testing. And Axel had to stay at Guelph. And during that time, Mike and I couldn't be together because it was COVID and it was one support person per patient. Anyways, it was like, you don't want to use this word lightly, but I've been to therapy for this. It was traumatic for me. It was like a very traumatic situation. Then when I got pregnant with Callie, I knew, like, I'm not giving birth at a hospital. Like, I am freaked out of that place. Like, I would drive past and hold my breath. Like, my whole body would go into like, ugh, every time I would go to the hospital. And so I've really worked on that. You know, I did give birth to Callie at home, but every year on the boy's birthday, we go to the hospital. We bring cupcakes for the nurses. We've really had like a very positive healing journey in that aspect. But when your child is hurt, it brings up different emotions. And then when you have to go back to a place that is so triggering for you, especially as a NICU mom, it's like all of these emotions come flooding in. So, like, first and foremost, you're obviously like in protection mode, like mama bear mode. I'm going to get my child the help that he needs. You want to be brave for your kids. So I was like so proud of myself for like staying calm, not crying, showing Oscar, like, you know, it's going to be okay. Like, mommy's here. Um, but when I sat in the waiting room and I remembered like the moments that I had been there, like, I also had a time at the hospital with Callie when she was a baby. So I just had like flashbacks to those moments of me like sobbing in that chair, just holding her. And I was just holding Oscar thinking like, oh my gosh, like, look how far we've come. Like, it's such a positive, but like also you just want to protect your kids and you're just like so worried and scared and want him to know that it's going to be okay. Anyway, it was a lot of emotions. But the reason that I'm sharing this story with you is a few reasons. First and foremost, as a NICU mom or a mother of, or a father, a parent of a child who has needed care, extra care, outside of your own care, I think it's very emotional and very triggering to then see them hurt and needing that extra care again. You feel out of sorts. You're taken back to those moments. Like, when you get through triage, they check their like heart rate, their temperature, they hook them up to a monitor. Like, I saw the number on the monitor, the color, the number, and the sound. Like, my whole body was like, holy shit. Like, it took me right back. Like for an entire month, I literally sat in a chair staring at monitors, hearing the noises, panicking when the numbers were decreasing or increasing or weren't at their normal rate. Like I have notes after notes after notes in my apps in my phone of like their vitals and their temperatures and their bowel movements and the amount that they drank. Like these are numbers that you're so focused on. And so it can be like really triggering. The smells, like even the way that I drove to the hospital, like I it just took me back. Like I did that drive every day for a month, thinking like, am I ever going to bring my babies home? Like, so it's just, it brings up all these emotions. And so I realized in the moment of walking into the hospital, like I need to hold space for my feelings too. Like I need to recognize that number one, it's okay to feel scared. Number two, uh, it's okay to be a little bit anxious. Um, and also, it's okay to be emotional and upset. Like those are, you don't want to, I don't necessarily want to say normal, but like those are things that you might feel if you've had a journey like this before and you're back in the hospital. Like it is scary. And so it brought up a ton of feelings for me. And I think because in the moment I was trying to really stay strong and stay focused and be there for Oscar, like I didn't really listen to my feelings very much. And then the next morning, this morning, I woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm exhausted and I'm so emotional. Like, what's wrong with me? And then I really realized, like, oh, I didn't have time to really process that. Like, I took my child back to the place that I was so scared I would never leave with him out of. And that's a really scary thought. And so those are things that trigger those emotions. So I think back to the days when I started sharing online and how many NICU parents I connected with, or preemie parents or twin parents. And um, it's just, it's something that you can't really even understand or comprehend unless you've been through it. And then once you go through it, it's with you forever. Like we have healthy babies now, praise the Lord. We are so blessed that we haven't really had to use their like their preemie age. Like they've been on par for their developmental milestones. Like we are so very blessed that they are healthy kids. But being a NICU parent changes you and stays with you forever. Those feelings are with you for the rest of your life. And so yeah, it was just, I shared about it today, this morning, and I got so many messages of people saying, like, thank you for sharing. Like, this is so true as a NICU parent or someone whose child had surgery when they were a baby or spent time in the hospital. Like, it does change you. And it makes you maybe not parent in a different way, but just feel a certain way when you're parenting, and about your kids and about your parenthood journey. And so it was just, yeah, a really emotional time for me. I'm not an emotional person, but something to really reflect on. Like, one, yes, it's sad and triggering to think back to those times, but two, like how beautiful it is, how far we've come and how far our kids have come. So it was really cool. The second piece that I wanted to share about this hospital journey of ours was the amount of kindness that we were shown. And not to be all like woo woo, but I do believe in signs sometimes. And I got home and obviously, you're buzzing. I put Oscar to bed. We had been at the hospital for hours. Like we left home at 4:40 p.m. and we didn't get home till after 11. So he was exhausted. I was exhausted. We were hungry. We got some fries on the way home. Like it was just a lot. And so I got him to bed. Obviously, he fell right asleep. I put him into my bed. And then I washed my face, I brushed my teeth, and I was buzzing. Like my mind was going, I was emotional. I was thinking like, whoa, that was crazy. Um, Praise God that he's okay. Like all these things. And I opened up my phone, I was scrolling, and the first video that comes up is my favorite poet, and now someone I get to call my friend, Josie Balka. Um, and it was a poem all about kindness and not having to understand, like, you don't have to agree with what everybody is doing or says or the decisions that they make, but you can still be kind. Those two things don't have to, um, they can happen simultaneously. And it was this really, really beautiful poem that stuck with me. And it made me really think like we were shown so much kindness in our journey in this hospital yesterday. Um, from the triage nurse who talked to Oscar like he was a human being, not just a child, um, who really made it less scary for both him and I. She then came and found us hours later and sat with Oscar while I went to go get a phone charger and my water bottle. Um, and his pajamas. Like I had left the stuff in the car because we just walked right in and my phone was going to die and he was bored. And so she was like, "Oh, I'll sit with him while you go get it." Like, no problem. When I came back, they were chit chatting. She was explaining to him exactly what would happen during his procedure, in the most beautiful, kind, age appropriate way. She brought him a toy. She explained that he would get a popsicle. Um, she was just so wonderful. And I looked at her, I said, "You're so good with kids. Like, thank you so much. It's so meaningful to me to know that you were here to care for him and that I could go and get the things that we needed." And she was like, "Of course, no problem." She was so wonderful, but she just didn't have to do that. And it was just so loving and kind. I was so grateful. Um, the second piece of kindness that we were shown at the hospital, um, in the first there are so many waiting rooms and you wait for so long, obviously. And in the first waiting room I guess the second waiting room that we were in, but the first section, Oscar was saying we had been there for over an hour and he said, "I'm so thirsty, Mom. Like, can I have water?" And I'm like, "Sure. Yeah, of course." But I couldn't go back out to the car. I couldn't leave him there, couldn't leave our spot. And I thought, like, "Oh, I'll just buy a water bottle." So I went to the vending machine that was in the waiting room there, and it only took cash, and I didn't have cash with me. I only had my card. And I said, "Oh, sorry, buddy. Like, we're going to just wait a little bit longer. And when we get in there, there'll be another vending machine, and it will hopefully be able to use a card. Like, we'll be able to get you water in a little bit. Can you wait a bit?" And he was like, "But Mom, I'm thirsty." And another lady who was waiting in the waiting room was like, "Oh, you know what? I have cash. Like, can I buy him a water?" And I was like, "Are you sure? Like, you really don't have to." She's like, "No, no, I really want to. Like, I always carry cash here." And handed me a $5 bill. Like, just so loving and kind. I was just so moved by that action of hers. Like, she obviously didn't have to do that. She's probably very uncomfortable waiting in the waiting room too, like not happy to be spending her evening at the hospital, and just gave me her money. So I bought the water bottle. I went to bring the change back to her and she was like, "No, no, keep it. Just get him something to eat later when he can eat." And I was like, "Oh, that's literally so kind." I said to her, "I'll pay it forward." And then I had a really sweet conversation with Oscar beside this woman about paying it forward and what that means. When someone is kind to you, then it's so nice and encouraging to be kind and to show that kindness to somebody else. So we talked about that today. And then I could pay for somebody's coffee today. And it was just wonderful, beautiful moment. But it just goes to show like kindness is everywhere, you know? I also like texted my mom group chat and everybody was just so wonderful and kind. Like, "Do you need anything? Can I help you? Can I drop something for you? How are you doing? How's Oscar?" Like, it doesn't take a lot to be kind, but the impact of it, like those are things I won't forget. And this morning I woke up, I had 3 texts from moms from the twins school who had seen me post a story online about Oscar being at the hospital and getting stitches, and they all checked in to see how he was doing and to see how I was doing. Like, these are moms who, like, I don't really know that well, you know, but they really like went out of their way to make sure that Ozzy was okay and to know that we were thought about. And I just think that if you're like, "Oh, should I text that person?" or, "Oh, should I reach out?" Like, the answer is yes. If they don't want your support, they'll tell you. But the impact that your words or your actions have are huge. Like, these are things that I will not forget. And then I think back to my NICU time and I'm like, there are so many people who will always have a place in my heart because they impacted me so much, and they might not even remember what they did or what they said at that time, but because I was struggling then, like, it impacts me forever. So I just think back to like that simple quote, like, if you can be anything in the world, like, just be kind. And it's something that I try to instill in my kids. It's something that I try to remember every day, to just show kindness to somebody, especially when you're in a place like a hospital where, it's not always happiness in there. And so, yeah, I'm just so grateful for the amount of kindness that we were shown, for Lindsay, for like just taking my kids and feeding them dinner and sending me pictures. I texted the boys' teacher to tell her, like, hey, Ozzy got stitches. And she's like, don't worry, I'll show him lots of extra love today. We, our old nanny, Michaela, if you guys have been following me for a while, you'll remember her, Keiki. Like, she texted us and then actually FaceTimed us at the hospital because she is a child life specialist. So she walked Oscar through, like, hey, this is what's going to happen. And just showed him love and support. And to show, or to feel all of that love and support, like, with him, was just so beautiful. I'm forever grateful for our community and for strangers showing kindness and for the care we received. So, anyways, that was a lot of talking about one small incident, but to me, it was really impactful, and I've been reflecting on it a lot today. So if you're a NICU parent and you're having these feelings, just know you're not alone. If you are someone who has a friend who is in the NICU, like, I had a friend message me too and say, like, hey, how early were your twins? Because my friend just had preemie twins. How can I support them? Like, just know that you are not alone, and that showing kindness is always impactful. My second topic of today, the other thing that I wanted to touch on in this episode, is something else that I've been sharing online a lot and getting a ton of feedback on, questions, support, comments. And so usually when I'm getting a lot of messages on a topic, I like to kind of expand on it in longer form here on Your Cup of Joy. And so that is about my weight loss. This is like a triggering topic, I think, that people sometimes feel weird around, myself included. But it's something that I've been sharing more. And I don't maybe think about it just as weight loss. Like, I really talk about it as my wellness journey, that I'm currently on and have been on for a while now. But every time I share something about my wellness journey or my weight loss, I have a ton of questions. And so I'll often share an episode of this podcast that I recorded, another solo, about my wellness journey and kind of how it started, all about my postpartum journey, how I was like at the lowest I had ever been, and really how I came to find myself and to show myself love and grace, I think. And so that episode is a little while back. You can scroll back and find it in anywhere you listen to podcasts. But I thought, okay, like, that was quite a while ago. Like, I recorded that in the summer. So here's a little update on my wellness journey, how I'm feeling, the things that I'm doing, and the mindset that I'm trying to focus on having, and the struggles that I'm having. Because sometimes I think, like, if you've lost a significant amount of weight, people look at you and are like, oh, like, how did you do that? Like, you must be so happy. And I think that we forget that the negative feelings that you have can come at any time. Like, it's not like you're just all of a sudden healed of all these things that you were feeling. Like, no. And in fact, the weight loss, I think, is completely separate from my mindset. And the working out is more for my mindset than for weight loss. So it's a lot of rambling and things to be said, but it's just a topic that I really think about a lot, and that I want to share in a way that is helpful and not harmful, which I know this can be a triggering topic. So if it is triggering to you and you don't want to listen, please do not feel like you need to. But if this is helpful for you, then I hope that you can take something away from today's episode to really put into action in your life, and to feel good, because that's my goal, really, is to help people feel their best and to encourage people to do things in order to feel their best. So, anyways, I think in my weight loss journey, it really started small. And so I really try to tell people when they're like, "Hey, what did you do?" Well, it wasn't just one thing, you know? It's it's habits and habit stacking. So it's changing, it was really changing my mindset around 1, movement, 2, nutrition, and 3, mental well-being. And so I really started small. I started by walking like 10 minutes a day. And then that 10 minutes turned into 20 minutes. And then that turned into me feeling comfortable and confident enough to walk into a gym and to lift a weight. And then from smaller dumbbells, I went to barbells. And from barbells, I went to adding weight. And it was each step led me to the next step in my journey. And these steps look different for everybody. But I just think it can feel so overwhelming to think like, well, what do I do at a gym? What do I wear? I don't feel comfortable in my clothes. Like these were all thoughts that I had before I really started moving my body. And so really you can just start with walking. You can start with doing some body weight squats at home. You can start with home workouts. Like I was doing some home workouts just on YouTube or online for a while before I felt really comfortable to go to a gym. But my main thing and the main point here is implementing some form of movement into your day every day. That was like a non-negotiable for me. And really, truly, some days that was just walking around the block 10 minutes while I had a sip of coffee, like the same amount that I would take to have like a pee break or a coffee break at work. But 10 minutes of movement. And from there, you can increase. But that already made a difference in my mindset because I was taking a moment every day for me. And I think when I was at my lowest, I really wasn't doing anything for me. And I was feeling down in the dumps. I wasn't feeling good. I didn't have any motivation. So it was very, very hard even to get out and just do 10 minutes. But it made a world of difference. And every time I did, and I think that was the encouragement that I needed. So just do it once and you'll feel the benefit and then you'll want to do it more. But I would say like movement was my first thing. And now I'm addicted. Like now I can't stop. Now I want to lift heavier. I want to push myself to the limits. That feels good to me. And if that sounds overwhelming to you, do not worry. Like everybody is different and maybe you'll get there. Like maybe that will be something that feeds your soul as it does for me. But everyone is so different. The other thing about movement and the thing that I found is when I started to really implement movement and made that a non-negotiable in my life, then I looked at food as fuel. So I needed to eat in order to be able to move. And I think I was probably under eating and then probably binge eating. Like I think I have had some issues with food. I think I still do, if I'm being honest. But like I wouldn't eat. So I would just like go and lift heavy at CrossFit and not eat till like 1 or 2 in the day. Uh And obviously that's not healthy or helpful. Like then how is your body supposed to move? How are you supposed to be able to feel good and energized and have energy? And my coaches at CrossFit really changed my mindset in this and really helped me and said like you need to eat in order to fuel your body so that you can move. And so now I've really changed that mindset of implementing more food, but healthier choices and whole foods to really fuel my body. So I'm highly focused on protein, which I know is trendy right now, which like good. I think that's not a bad thing. It means there's more options of high protein foods. But really trying to have protein and to not, it was so ingrained in my head from the time that I was in high school that carbs were bad. And I don't know why that's a thing because carbs fuel you. They're energy. You need carbs. So I'm really trying and I'm not succeeding yet. Like I'm still not great up here, but I'm trying to change that mindset of like, no, carbs are not bad. Okay? They're fuel. So if you have like deep rooted issues on food because you were like me consuming media at an age where you were moldable and you took these things in to heart and now you have a hard time changing them, do not worry. Like that happened to a lot of us. And it's messed up, but it's true. Like I would read Cosmo all the time and that really messed my head up, I think. But I'm really focused on changing that. So really focus on having like high protein foods, things that fuel your body, the more colorful the plate, the better, I think. I always say like fruits, vegetables, things with fiber, um, just things to really fuel you. And I started to feel much better and much more energized. And then in the mental health space, I think I'm really trying to focus on one, being proud of myself, two, giving myself grace, and three, loving me. And these are really hard things. Like they sound simple, but I posted a video this week, and this is kind of what sparked me wanting to record this solo episode. But I was at the gym. I was doing one of the hardest lifts for me, which is a snatch. It's when you pull the barbell off the ground up and over your head. And I have like a bummed shoulder, so like it hurts me sometimes. I've been really working on strengthening that, rehabbing it so that I can do these movements with heavier weights. Anyway, it was 3 sets of 3 at like 75 to 80% of your 1 rep max. My 1 rep max is 110 pounds. I put 95 pounds on my bar and I did 3 sets of 3, and it wasn't that hard for me. And I thought, holy shit, like I am building my strength, like good job. I was really proud of myself. I felt really good. Then I did the WOD, like the rest of the workout. I felt strong. I felt empowered. I felt good. I had taken a video because Oscar and Axel always want to see my videos of the gym, of what I do. I got to the car and I thought, oh, I'm going to post this because I felt strong. I felt good. I was proud of myself. I went to post the video. All I could see was my stomach. This is like the thing that I'm most self-conscious of. I have a loose skin. I mean, like if you've been pregnant, maybe you have this too. Your skin stretches. Like I was huge with the twins. I was even bigger with Callie. And my skin is stretched. I have tons of stretch marks. It's like loosey-goosey all around my midsection. And it bothers me. It's something that I'm trying to learn to love, to just be okay with, but it really bothers me. It especially bothers me when I'm wearing clothes that fit me, but it kind of hangs out over top, or it's like jiggly, or it peeks out. I just really am uncomfortable with that. And so I was snatching, and in this video, I look so strong, and then all I see is my midsection and the skin over top. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't post that. Ew. That was my thought. Instead of, holy fuck, look how strong I am. And I probably watched this video 12, 13, 14 times over and over and over again, only staring at my midsection. And then I had some clarity. And I thought, Ariana, stop being a loser. You are strong. Your loose skin is the least of your concerns. Like, you had a good workout. Your mind is now cleared. You did something for you today. You're going to have a great day with your kids. You are strong. You are capable. The fact that you can lift any weight over your head is incredible. Like, all these things that I would tell anybody else in my position, I started to try to tell myself. And then I thought, I have to post it, because how many other people have felt this and have not been able to circle back and think like, okay, this is crazy, you know? And it just really made me be like, what is wrong with my head? Like, but you know what it is? It's these unrealistic beauty expectations that we have in our head, probably because I watched a million models be torn apart on America's Next Top Model, or I read Cosmo and it said like, you don't want to have flub on your tummy, or whatever, these things that stuck with me. And I don't want to be like that anymore. I want to be proud of myself. I want to celebrate my accomplishments instead of focusing on the negatives. And I want to be proud of my body, like that it was capable, that it brought 3 human beings into the world, that it nourished those 3 human beings for 5 years straight, and that it now is also able to lift heavy things and to do these cool workouts. Like, it's a hard mindset shift, and it really had me thinking, like, I still, like, I'm stuck in seeing myself in a certain way. Like when I order clothes, lately I've been ordering clothes way too big for myself. My friends will be like, Ariana, why did you order that in that size? I think in my head that that's how I am. I have this like weird thing about that. And so I think I want to say this appropriately and not be negative. But it's just something that I struggle with, you know? I think body image, number one, how I feel in my skin, number two, are just things that I really struggle with. And so when I had posted about this, so many people responded saying like, I feel the same way. I order my clothes way too big because I'm still stuck in that feeling of like, that's what my body is like. Or I look at myself and all I see are the faults, or I see my cellulite or my loose skin or all these things instead of focusing on the actual beauty of ourselves and of our bodies and of the things that they've done. And so I am working really hard on changing that mindset. But I want you to all know that I am a work in progress. Like you don't just snap your fingers and think like, oh, now I love myself. Like that doesn't happen. Like this is a journey. I started this like wellness weight loss journey on like in December last year. So it's almost been a full year. And I don't think I'm anywhere near to like, where I want to be in terms of how I feel about myself. But I am very happy with where I am mentally as compared to where I was then. Like I was so depressed then. I was not happy. And now I'm like excited to live life. I love my work. I love going to the gym. I have a great community there. Like it takes a lot to build that and to build your strength and to build your confidence and to feel good about yourself. But if you are stuck, my advice is just start anywhere with something small. And you will be so amazed at how quickly that changes. So if you take anything from this episode today, I hope it's that you, number one, show kindness to somebody today that maybe you wouldn't normally. And number two, do something for you today that makes you feel good, even if it's just a 10-minute walk around the block. And if you want to chat about your wellness or anything like that, please let me know. I've been sharing a little bit more about that in my content online on Instagram. But I'll continue to share like recipes and ways that I'm implementing higher protein content in my daily food. And yeah, just little habits that I'm trying to make that I feel are making a difference for me. So thanks for listening. I hope you feel encouraged. I hope you also feel like you're not alone if you're having any of these feelings, because I think that's the thing that I take the most when I share anything that feels a little bit taboo or raw or scary. And it's just that people often respond with, oh my gosh, thank you for sharing this because I feel the same way. And it's so good to know that I'm not alone. So I feel the same way too. I hope you have the best week and thanks for listening. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Your Cup of Joy. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation as much as I did. And if this episode resonated with you, or if you've been loving this show, I'd really appreciate it if you could take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you are listening. Your support helps the podcast grow, it helps it reach more people, and it means the absolute world to me. So keep filling your cup with joy, and I will see you next week.